Welcome to Dr. Katina Talks, the podcast where we explore the journey to a more fulfilling, balanced, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Dr. Katina, and today I want to take you somewhere. Back in time, back to a little girl in Camden, New Jersey, a girl who had no idea that a single painful moment in her childhood would shape the way she saw herself for years. This is one of those stories that sticks with you, not just because it happened, but because of how it made you feel. So let me take you there. When I was about 10 years old, I lived in a housing project in Camden, New Jersey. It was the kind of place where you heard the sound of the ice cream truck long before you could see it, where kids played double dutch using 2 clotheslines we found in someone's mama's kitchen. The buildings were blacky brown, stacked in rows like bricks of survival. Some families were trying to climb out. Some were just trying to get through the day. We were poor, but so was everyone else around us in one way or another. Some families had 2 working parents saving up to move to a better neighborhood. Some shared housing, nurses, friends, or cousins teaming up to pay the rent and watch each other's kids. And then there were families like mine. We were on welfare. I remember the first of the month because it was a day of excitement. We'd be dressed and waiting for the mailman to slide that check through the door. Then we'd head to the bank and stand in a line that sometimes wrapped around the building, just so my mom could cash a small check and pick up our food stamps. That money was supposed to last us the entire month. Spoiler, it never did. But somehow we survived. As a 10-year-old kid, sometimes my clothes didn't fit right. My hair was often undone, and yet I wasn't invisible. There were neighborhood moms with big hearts who quietly made sure I had what I needed. My 4th grade teacher, who lived in the projects for a time, gave me hand-me-downs from her teenage daughter. My best friend's mom would sometimes feed me breakfast if I came over early enough before school. And if I timed it right, she'd do my hair too. And oh, how I loved getting my hair done. These women never made a big deal out of it. They didn't shame me. They didn't point out what I lacked. They just quietly showed up. And in those moments, I felt seen. Not pitied, just cared for. The neighborhood kids stuck together too. We played kickball, and I can't remember where we would get the ball from, but we had one for the entire neighborhood. We rode bikes, sometimes sharing them with kids who didn't have one. And we played hide and seek and even got up to mischief that did not kill us, but it did get us a few whippings. We were poor, but us kids made the most of what we had and found joy in the simplest things. But then there was one girl, we'll call her M. She didn't live in our housing project exactly. She'd visit a relative who did, and her grandparents would sometimes drop her off to play with the neighborhood kids. And M was shiny. That's the best way I can describe her. Her hair was always freshly done. Her clothes looked like they came straight from the department store. She had this presence that made me want to stand next to her. I don't know, perhaps I thought some of her shine would rub off on me. One day, we were all outside playing. I bent over to tie my shoe and my shirt slipped. M pointed at me and said, "You wearing that Wonder Woman bra again? I've seen you wear that a bunch of times. Is that the only one you have?" Now, I need you to understand something. I didn't have any boobs yet, but that Wonder Woman bra, it was my favorite. It was the only one I had, but it was mine, and I wore it with pride until that moment. I straightened up, yanked my shirt down, and said, "No, I got plenty," but I didn't. And the way she looked at me, like she'd seen something that made me less than, it stayed with me. M had lost her mother not long before and moved in with her grandparents. They had money, and her life had changed. But that change didn't come with kindness. I didn't understand it at the time, but that moment, one girl, one comment, left a mark on my life. It told me, you're not enough, not clean enough, not stylish enough, not good enough. And even though I didn't have the words for it then, that moment wrapped itself around me like armor. I grew into a woman who would never, ever be caught in dingy under things again. Let's fast forward to today. Today, I own more underwear than any one woman could need in a lifetime. Bright, new, folded like little pieces of pride in overstuffed drawers. Because no one was ever going to see that version of me again. Now, as a grown woman, a wife, a mother, and a psychologist with a PhD, I look back on that moment with clarity I didn't have then. I see that little girl through wiser eyes. I understand what she was feeling. I understand what she was trying to protect. This isn't just a story from childhood. It's a case study in how early shame quietly follows us into adulthood, shaping how we see ourselves and how we show up in the world. And if you're holding on to a moment like that too, don't look away. Don't dismiss it, because naming the moment is the first step toward healing it. As I share these 5 reflections, I want you to gently hold your own childhood memory in your hands. You know, that one that still makes you shrink or hide. Because understanding that moment might just be the doorway to freeing yourself from it. 1. Childhood wounds don't just disappear. They go underground. That moment with M didn't vanish when I turned 18. It grew roots. It lived in my shopping habits, my self-image, my silence. And chances are, you've got a moment like that too. 2. Overcompensation is protection dressed up as perfection. Let me say that again. Overcompensation is protection dressed up as perfection. When we feel exposed, we cover. We overdo. We tell ourselves, this will never happen again. But the truth is, we're not broken. We're protecting ourselves. 3. The kindness of strangers matters more than they'll ever know. Those women who fed me, did my hair, gave me their child's outgrown clothes, they weren't saving me. They were seeing me. And sometimes being seen is the first step to healing. 4. We must tend to our inner child. That 10-year-old girl pulling her shirt down and feeling embarrassed that someone she admired saw her dingy Wonder Woman bra. She still lives in me. She doesn't need to be silenced. She needs to be reminded, you're okay. You were always okay. 5. You are not what they saw. Whatever someone said about you, that moment doesn't define you. Their perception is not your identity. You are more than what you wore, more than what they noticed, more than who they thought you were. And maybe it's time for you to release that version of yourself too. You know, the one still trying to prove, the one still trying to hide, the one still trying to be enough, because you already are. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story stirred something in you, take a moment, ask yourself, what moment in my childhood shaped how I see myself now? What parts of me are still trying to protect that younger version of me? And how do I want to shift today's story? Remember, you don't have to live in reaction to the memory forever. You get to rewrite it with truth, with compassion, and with clarity. And if you're ready to go a little deeper, I've created a free companion journal entry just for this episode to help guide your reflection. Visit drkatinatalks.com to download it. Sometimes putting pen to paper is the first step toward healing and reclaiming your power. If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to like it, share it, and follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Dr. Katina Talks. And visit drkatinatalks.com for more resources and episodes. Until next time, be gentle with the child you used to be. That child is the foundation of the adult you are now. Bye for now.